Okay, now it's time to do this with a recording. So this webinar today is talking about the glass table in the WinBidPro software, and we're using the TrueLight Glass Aluminum catalog. Although the catalog doesn't matter because glass table applies to the entire program, no matter what catalog is being used. And we're using the beta version 15.2.1 right now, and that's the one that gives you a blue icon on your desktop. The red one's for the 15.1, blue icon is 15.2. And that can be downloaded from our website. And the glass table, as I say, is something that applies to the entire program. So you are able to configure it so that no matter what manufacturer you're using, what catalog you're using, you can apply the glass to it. So we actually give you, if you've installed the program in the last couple of years, we give you a couple hundred and then some records of glass, like types of glass. So this is something that you have total control over, so you can always delete them all and add your own. You can also just use these and add to it. And then there's no pricing. So you'll notice there's pricing that I've added in, but it comes blank just so that you put the pricing from your manufacturer in here. So let's see. So the key thing for the glass table is using this filter bar to help narrow down what you're looking at. So something I've done here is, right now we're sorted by description. I'm going to change that, and I'm going to go by description again, so resort it. So since we're sorted by description, it's going to be in alphabetical order. Maybe there's a space right there that's going to be, there's not. Oops. I'm going to put clear filter is another way to do it. Okay. So clear filter always resorts it, and it clears out the filter here. So the filter, again, is if we type something in here like ET, it's going to look for anything that contains the characters ET. So I can even type etch, and now it's only showing me the etched glass. If I wanted to change the pricing of the etched glass, I could just go over here and start adding some pricing in. So it could be $4, $5, you know, whatever it is. And there's no like batch tool in this window because this is like a one-time thing. Once you update this pricing, you're not really doing it every day. You're not doing it for every job, you know. So it basically keeps this as a master, and anytime you add glass to a job, it's going to pick up the information that's in here. So once this is configured, you're not really messing with it that much, but you are able to change things at a job level, and I'll show you that later in the webinar. So a couple other important things. There's something that this show label column, this is something we added about a year or two ago that helps you be more descriptive on your drawing. Right now, the lights of glass, as you add glass to your elevations, it shows the first character in the glass type field here. So if it's an anneal type, it shows the A. If it's tempered type, it's a T. If it's miscellaneous, it'll be an M. So it knows to do that. But if there's a label, I can put acid etch, and I could actually copy and paste this. Oh, I forgot, if you double click, it opens up this window, which is good. But I can click in there, I can copy it, and then I can paste it to each of these without skipping one. I don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm pasted in all those. So I've updated all my acid etch labels here. So these labels will actually show up in the drawing, and I'll show you that in a second. Now color, that's a lot of times acid etch is, a lot of times the description has the color in it, so let's get clear filter here. So, you know, you'll see blue here, you'll see clear, if it's blue over clear or whatever. Green, here's blue-green. So the color column is really for your own, for your use to help locate the type of glass you need when you're adding it to an elevation or even when you're looking to modify something here. So if it's clear, you can always put the word clear here, even though clear is not in the description. You know, if it's blue, you can put the blue here. So really, it just helps you like I say, fine and filter down to that type of glass. So if I type blue now, I've got, what, 5 different blue types of glass that I've actually put a label in for. Now if I put blue over here, then notice how I blanked that one out. So I put blue here. There's actually a lot more that have blue in the description. So it's just another way for you to sort and filter down the parts in your glass tables. And if you've added a ton of glass to your list here, the more ways to sort and filter it down, the better. So that's what that's for. So I can quick filter, get back to it. So you don't have to have something in the color column, but if you do, it's another way you can filter down to the glass that you're looking for. So one thing I did, if you always use like 5 or 6 different kinds of glass, you can actually get creative and put like a number in front of it. Like if this is my number 1 type, I'm going to put in a 1 dash, let's say, in the space even. So I'm going to put a 1 there, and if there's another type like down here that I use all the time, I'm going to put a 2 in front of it. So that way, if I hit clear filter now, it's going to resort for me. And I'm still saying sort by description, so that pops them up at the top of the list. So the description can be a valuable thing because it not only tells you about the glass, but it also can let you put it in the list in a certain place, whether it's the top or, you can number them however you want. I could have put AA or something. So there's different ways to manipulate that description to your advantage. Okay, so glass type. A while ago, we gave you the ability to edit and change or even add glass types. So that's basically when you click in here, you're able to select. These are the ones that we basically started with. And as I say, when you add something that doesn't have a label in it, a show label, it's going to take the first character from the glass type. So that's something to be cautious of, because if you start adding your own glass types and they have the same character as another one, and you don't have a show label in there, then it's going to show up as, say, a C on the drawing. And if you have 3 things that start with C, you're not going to know which one it is. So you want to use the show label if that's the case. But this is another way for you to find and identify the type of glass you want to use or change. So that's what that's for. The one caveat for that is glass types are actually summarized in the bottom of the final glass report when we print it. And if you go and change that a lot, you're not going to have the new ones that you've added in there. So here's, you'll see anneal tempered spandrel. These are like all the standard ones that were listed there. But if you start adding your own, they're not going to show up here because this is hard-coded into this report. So just keep that in mind. But that's one little catch to doing your own glass types. So we'll go ahead and get out of that. So back to the glass table. So that's what glass types are. If I edit a certain glass part, I can actually change the types in here as well. And so this screen lets you edit it in full screen mode here, like in this list, or if you click on a part and edit, you can edit it like in a field-by-field basis. That's the same thing you'll get if you add new. If you want to add a new piece, it opens up that little edit window and lets you type in your own description, type in a label and color, pick a glass type, set whether it's insulated or not. So an insulated is pretty self-explanatory. It's definitely either insulated or not. And then the thickness, this is helpful for finding the glass you need. Like if I use my little sort thing or filter bar and I type a 1.2, that's only going to show me the 1/8" glass. Now if I type a 2.5, it's going to show me 1/8" and 1/4" because it contains the 2.5. So really, if I only want to look at 1/4" glass, I'm going to say 0.25. Or I could even say 0.25, I believe so. So either way, so just keep that in mind. The filtering is whatever contains what you're typing. So be more specific with what you're typing, and you'll get a more specific filter. So now the minimum area. So price is pretty self-explanatory. That's your square foot price, and that is your cost. So it's not like a list price with a discount. That's your cost on the glass. You can mark it up in the markup report and that's how you get your profit on it. So now minimum area. So this is something that's actually used in the final glass table, where it is calculated if the glass does not meet the minimum requirement. So I have a little test job here that I made, and it has 3 small lights, 14 5/16 by 5/16 by 8 3/8. So 3 small lights. If I go to my final glass report, I show that my minimum area for this type of glass, which is the acid etch anneal, is 3, but these are actually only 1.11 square feet per piece. So what the program's doing is saying, okay, these don't meet this square foot minimum, which is why this box is not checked, the minimum okay. And it's going to apply the price of the minimum instead of the actual price in this case. So it's going to say, okay, the $4 per square foot, there's a 3 square foot minimum, that's $12 a square. That's $12 for this light, each light, and there's 3 of them, so that's $36 total. So it's pretty easy. You have the ability back in that glass table to change that minimum, but these are all set to 3, but you can edit and change it to whatever you want. And that's how the program is going to utilize it. So it'll see if whatever glass light size, the block size, either meets that or does not. If it doesn't meet it, then it's going to go ahead and multiply the price by that minimum. And you'll see what it looks like here in the final glass. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to change jobs. So in the final glass for the sample job, these are all kind of more average size lights here. You'll notice that all of them meet the minimum. There's even one that's 3.33, but that's still over the 3 square foot minimum. So in this case, the price per square foot is being multiplied by the actual block square footage, the block area. So that's how these prices are derived. Actually, then it multiplies it by the quantity of that size. So that's how that all works. You'll see that's why this box is checked. They all meet the square foot minimum. So now if we go back to the glass table, so discount quantity, that's something we threw in there more for your information than anything. So the program's not actually going to calculate anything differently based on that. So if a certain type of glass has a 100 square foot minimum, you can enter that in here, and it's just going to remind you that that's the case. So the program itself isn't going to calculate it any differently. So I think what we would need is, okay, what discount do you get, and does it apply to the same type of glass that's both tempered and annealed, or is it separated? So I think we need to get a little more detailed on the information before we can implement something like this where the program calculates it for you. So for now, it's just a reminder to you that whatever type of glass you're looking at has that minimum, or discount minimum. So if it's 200 square feet, 150, whatever, you can enter that in there, and that just reminds you that that's the case. So the labor code, that's something that the program does use, and it needs it to calculate the correct man-hours for glazing a certain light of glass. So for glazing, there's 3 factors. There's the size of the glass, and there's the, so that's the United Inches, height plus width, and then there's the thickness of the glass, which is what you're seeing here, and then there's the type of frame that it's glazed in. So this glass thickness kind of category helps the program find the right man-hours for a certain size piece of glass in a certain frame. So that's how that all works. So it is important to have this set. If for some reason one of these is blank, the program will default to looking at thickness over here. But as you know, you could have half-inch solid glass, which would be heavy glass, that is not insulated, so it has to be calculated differently than half-inch insulated. So there is a reason that we have this labor category, and that's to help get even more specific on what type of labor is needed for that glass. So, and the supplier, again, is just for your own purposes here, where you can list the supplier's name to help you filter that and only look at that supplier's glass if you need it to. So in this case, it's not even used right now. So that's what that's for. All right, so that's pretty much the glass table. Now that's the master glass table, like you said. Now there's also a way to manipulate. So here's a case where that show label has been used, and you know, it's up to 10 characters. You can actually see it, like I think I've shown color. Actually, we can find that show label just by using our little filter here. And why isn't it letting me? Oh, I'm not typing in the right place. So we can see that's the record I used. I didn't have a color there. Again, the color is just for finding it. So it can be up to 10 characters long. So you have to decide whether you want it to overlap like that in a small, you know, daylight opening, or if it doesn't bother you. So you have control over whether you want to put 4 characters or 9 or 10. So that's something that you can decide. And one thing to remember is if I'm looking at this, and I have a clear filter right here too to look at the entire list. So it's important to use, since you only see, you know, 4 items at once here, it's important to use that that filter bar thing. Like if I'm way down here and I knew that I put a description in that had the 1 dash, I can find that real quick. Or if I knew that I had, you know, there's the acid etch. Didn't I put acid etch, I think, here? If I knew, oh no, that would be under, can't remember where I put that. Yeah, under show label. So all the acid etch stuff, I could have done it by description as well, but you know, if your label's a little different, you can filter by that. But so all that helps you find in this little list what you're looking for. So now if I'm in that glass tab and I go back to my my glass table here, and I click on something and I make some changes. Like let's say this one's going to be blue eclipse. Eclipse. It's tough to type. See, so I ran out of characters. So right there it's maxed out at the 10. But let's say I want to find that now in this glass table. It's not going to, there it is. So I did make it so it updates it, so that's good. It's going to update this table as well, so that you're good. I think for a while there it wasn't updating this, and you had to get off it and get back to it. So, so yeah. So we can use this filter bar to our advantage, and we can, like, I can just click on this one, and I can replace these with blue eclipse. So now it's going to show me that label that I put in, and again, it truncates at 10 characters, so that's all it's going to let you use. And so now, if you want to modify glass for just this job and not have it apply or change anything in your master glass table, you can do that. There's a couple different ways. There's your final glass report, where, see, now it's showing me that new glass that I changed. I can change the pricing. I can change the pricing here. So whatever I'm looking at is going to change. So if I only want to look at my annealed glass, and I want to change the prices for that to say $4.50, then I can update that. And now if I want to change something in the entire list, you got to be careful, because annealed is going to have a different price than tempered. So keep that in mind. Whenever you click this button, and that's what this note tells you, is whatever you're looking at is going to be changed. So you need to remember that. So now, if you wanted to change something like the description, or the not the category, but the type, or even the size, you can't do that right here. You can actually think you're changing it. You can start typing something, it'll show it. But if I close this window and get back in, it's going to lose the change. The reason is the source for this report is in a different place. So all it's doing is it's pulling it all into one thing, summarizing it, and giving you the summary of that information here. So what we need to do to affect the glass in this job without having to say remove it and add it back to the elevation here is I can go to the jobs window and current job update utilities. This is also where we can do other things just for these jobs. But in this case, I want to edit job glass info. So now it's going to show me just the glass for this job. And each piece of glass is actually shown. So there must not be glass in the other elevations, but that's okay. So in this case, it's going to show me a glass label. Now this glass label is unique to each piece of glass. So it's going to tell me a specific unique identifier basically for each piece of glass. And the way we can actually see that even more is we go to System Defaults. We go to Drawing Settings. In Drawing Setting, anything that has to do with the drawing, we want to go to Drawing Settings. So I can actually show those same labels, and I can even show glass sizes. So when I click that, now I've got all kinds of stuff on my drawing. So what these labels mean are the G stands for glass, the 1 stands for the panel that you're in, so the first number is the panel, and then the pound 1 is the row that it's on. So that's why this one's G1, pound 1. So row 2 is here, row 3 is here. These are all panel 1. And notice over here we've got panel 5, row 1, row 2, row 3. So the only difference is door glass. That's why door glass has the DR, and it has its own A and B for two doors. If it were single, it wouldn't have that. So now the difference also is a door glass is not like a row. So the row 1 actually goes up and over into the transom and then back down to row 1. So row 1 starts above the door, and the S here means it's a split 1 and split 2. So there's multiple pieces because of the split, and it's numbering of 1 and 2. So it's row 1 because it's above the door, but it's panel 3, which is what panel the door's in. So that's what those labels mean. You can actually print those on with the label option under Print Reports, or you can reference them in the drawing and then back in that jobs window where we went here and hit Edit Job Glass Info. So if I wanted to use this form and I wanted to say change some glass sizes, I can actually do that, and it will keep those changes. The only thing that's going to make them lose those changes is if you remove the glass from the elevation. So when you remove glass, so whenever you add glass to the elevation, it gets added to this list. Whenever you remove it, it gets removed from this list. So this is like the origin of the glass information for this job. So that's why anything we change in here, I can type just something as simple as, I shouldn't have deleted that, let's see, it's clear tempered glass, and I can apply that. Now since these are individual pieces, I'm going to apply it to everything here. So I'm going to do that to all the clear tempered. So I'm going to add the word glass, and you'll see how that's going to show up in the report. Now, what else? Oh, so if I want to manipulate pricing, I can do that easily. I can also use the filter, just like I can in the reports and all the other windows. So all the anneal, I can change the price again to, $4.75 and update that. So now, if I want to change the size of the glass, you'll see that that was an option too. Now, I'm going to clear the filter, see the whole list. If I want to change the size of the glass in row 1, let's say it's a buckle system and all the perimeter glass needs to be a little different. So row 1, I would just say G1. I'm sorry, that's panel 1. So row 1, I would put a pound 1. Oh, this isn't doing this. The contains. Maybe I'll have to add that someday. So for row, so row 1, I would have to do a G. Let me look at this. So, well, let's just do panel 1 to make it easier right now. So G1 would be panel 1, and I want to add, say, a ½ inch to that glass. I'm going to update that. To the, I'm sorry, add a ½ inch to the. No, let's add a ½ inch to the width. So I'm going to add a ½ inch to the width and update. So now it's just added that ½ inch to the width of this glass. Since this is the origin, that's how it's going to show up in the final glass report. So in row 1, this is where this would need to work, and I need to change this report so I can do that. So right now it's only letting me sort on this. Now what you could do, let me see if it lets us do it here. No, it's only letting us do it on text fields. Okay, so that's something I need to work on, but basically I can change the sizes manually. I can just click on it and change it, as long as you find the piece of glass that you're working with, and you know where it's located by this label, and also it helps you find it here. So in the future, I'll make sure that we can filter by these values here. That's important. So that's what we're doing. We're changing the job class where its origin is right here for this job actually. And then when we go to the final class, now we should see those changes. So here's the change I made to the description, the change I made to the price, $4.75, and obviously the change I made to the sizing, the 7/8. I forget which one it was already, but the sizes are going to be picked up as well. So the only way you're going to lose those changes, doesn't matter how many times I get in and out of this report, is if you remove the glass from the elevations, or if you go in and change it in that, or replace the glass too from the elevations, or if you go in and change it in that job, edit job glass info thing. So, and if we want to turn off these things, it's really easy to do for the labels. Remember, there's two different labels. There's the labels that are the unique locator label, and then there's the label that tells you what the glass type is. So, a little confusing, but there's not enough words to use. So that's it. That's the master glass table. That's the job glass, and that's the power you have over each one. Remember that in final glass, you can change the pricing, and I believe it does update. Let's do that real quick. I think it does keep the pricing. So if I want to change the door glass, that's easy enough. Oh, there it is right there. So that was 0. So let's make that $6. And then close. And then get back into final glass. Yeah, so the pricing it will keep, but these other things, it wasn't really designed for you to change. So that's why in that job glass info window, you can change all the other stuff, the sizes, the descriptions, and all that. So, and the minimum area, all those things can be changed where it's pulling from. So keep that in mind. That's pretty much it for the glass part of the program. There's obviously labor and all that, so those will be different webinars that we'll do in the future. And again, you can find this recording on our website in the training page. And thanks again for participating in our webinar.